Hi, everybody. Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well, my friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. Congratulations. We've done another week. And obviously, we've got a massive 6-pointer at the London Stadium on Sunday against Southampton. We'll have all the coverage, all the watch along, all that type of stuff. You name it, we've got it. All the previews and stuff are going to be done through our 24-hour live stream, which kicks off tonight, 5 p.m. on the West Ham Network channel for the Iron Supporting Food Banks Bring a Quid campaign. Very simple campaign. Basically, it means just make sure you've got a quid in the pocket when you go to see West Ham. And just pop it in the bucket. And that'll make a huge difference, particularly in April with so many games being played at the London Stadium, including the Youth FA Cup semi-final. We've got, as I said, we've got some good interviews lined up. We've got some guests. We've got loads of West Ham YouTubers coming on and doing bits as well. It's going to be really, really nice night. I think it's going to be, everyone putting together for the greater cause. And so, yeah, check it out. There's nothing on television on a Friday night anymore now. So just put it us and donate to the food banks and all that good stuff. As I said, kicks about 5 o'clock tonight. So keep an eye out for that. Now, I wanted to do something a bit different today. Not a rant, but just a brain dump, a thought piece, something like that. Because basically, yesterday I was reading like loads of articles about DAZN. Obviously, they have like the boxing and things like that. Obviously, they have Anthony Joshua and various others as well on their platform. Now, they're bidding to broadcast all English Football League matches live, which, and they're bidding with other companies, and so what? So what? We have rights, people bidding for rights all the time. But the reason why the DAZN bid is so interesting is if it was accepted, it would end England's blackout rule in terms of Saturday 3 p.m. blackout rule. Now, the Times report, if successful, DAZN want to show all 1,656 matches live across the Championship, League One and League Two. Could become quite poignant if we get relegated, to be honest, but it's the bigger picture I'm thinking about in terms of including the Premier League in this. Now, this could have huge implications for English football. This long-standing blackout rule means that no games can be televised on Saturday afternoons to help the attendance of lower league grounds and grassroots football. Now, under the current deal, I think there's about 200 Premier League games that are shown between Sky, BT Sport, soon to be TNT Sport, and Amazon Prime. While Sky also show about 140 odd EFL games as well. Now, DAZN already hold the rights to Serie A in Italy. They've made inroads in Champions League football, as well as the Bundesliga and La Liga as well. Now, the idea of ending this 3 p.m. blackout rule was actually back in October floated by the EFL because they were basically trying to do this rights thing, and they're inviting the likes of YouTube and Netflix to pitch for the rights packages because they were looking about getting £200 million for it. And I think Sky pay about £120 million. So looking for quite a bump more of what they currently got. And it was floated around as an idea. And basically, many fans, and even now, many fans, and also guys like ourselves, who obviously cover all the games, we've complained about the blackout rule. I find it quite outdated now in a quite a digital society. And there's been no conclusive studies, there's no conclusive evidence that the blackout rule would damage grassroots lower league attendances. And also, if DAZN then do win the bid, not only will they decide that they've promised to bid for Premier League rights as well, but it opens up the door for the likes of Sky, TNT Sport, Amazon Prime, Netflix to basically try and buy all the rights to all the games. So you'll be able to watch any game potentially, whether it's a Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, eventually on your streaming platform of choice, based on obviously whether it's a BT game, a Sky game, that type of thing. So it could have huge implications. But then I was like, okay, well that's quite could be quite a big seismic change in how football's covered, in terms of how it's broadcast. But what was that blackout rule? Where did it come from? And apparently, it's Article 48 in the UEFA rule book, basically allows member states to select a 2.5 hour slot on the weekends, where live football is banned from any screen. Now, some reports suggest it was originally back in the 1950s when basically everyone had TV, and Football League was really worried about people not going to the games, because if they televised the games on the TV, they'd watch it on the TV instead of going to the games. Then when you only had one, two, three, four TV channels, but that wasn't really the case. In truth, in England, I think it was 1987 when it sort of really kicked off, because ITV did a deal with the Football League, and across Europe there were similar deals done with broadcasters and football associations, and basically UEFA stepped in to suggest this as a choice in terms of this Article 48. Again, the idea is it's to allow a nation. It's not to say you must do it. It's to allow a nation, and that's really important, because basically the FA and all the broadcasters got together and said, right, okay, fair enough. Between 2:45 and 5:15, there's going to be no football shown live on the TV. And this has remained in place. And it remains in place not just for domestic football, but for foreign matches as well. There's been cases where it's been on like a Serie A game on BT, soon to be TNT Sports, where it's actually the coverage has started 15 minutes into the game, because the game has started at 5 o'clock on our time. And so the coverage can actually start at 5:15. So it's not just, it's any live football can't be shown on the screens between those times. Now, back in 2018, UEFA and UEFA and the FA pushed back on a company called 11 Sports. Now, if you remember, they did loads of advertising. They were showing all the La Liga games for like fuck all, basically, and all that type of thing. And they actually played a few of the games like during that blackout time, and they were pressured by UEFA and FA to stop doing it, and they actually sort of rescinded and fell back. And I think they actually went into administration, actually, because it's they spent all this money on the rights for La Liga and stuff, and it just didn't work in the UK. But something like that, we're not assuming that because they're banning playing La Liga on the telly that someone who's going to go jump on a plane to Spain to watch a game. But it's not necessarily that. It's whether that attention gets taken away from, say, rather than watching, I don't know, Villarreal versus Real Sociedad, they're not going to go and see Orient versus Wrexham. I don't know, I'm just making it up. They're not in the same league. Might be next year. And so that's the sort of the dots they're trying to join. But whatever happens, the decision's made with the FA. So the FA have to decide what to do. Now, at present, out of all the UEFA member states, only 3 actually abide by the Article 48. That's England, Scotland, and the footballing powerhouse of Montenegro. So there's only 3 member states who actually comply with Article 48. Now, the decision to do the blackout, the decision to maintain the blackout rule, may actually fall out of the FA's hands, because say the Bundesliga, the German FA, the Italian FA, the Spanish FA, all want to show their matches at 3 p.m. in the UK on a Saturday to increase their broadcast revenues for their clubs. We know they're falling on their ass. The Premier League has more money than all of them. It's the juggernaut that is the Premier League. They might say, we want a bit more of that pie. We want to show our games at 3 p.m. If it went to a vote, basically Article 48 would be out the door, because there's so many other member states who don't follow Article 48. And so England, Scotland and Montenegro are going to be on their Todd, really. So it might not be their choice. There is actually a clause, a little known clause in Article 48, which means you can actually show games at 3 p.m. It requires 50% of England's top 2 divisions to kick off at 3 p.m. for it to come into effect. So during an international break, in theory, League One and League Two, they're still being played. They can actually have their matches broadcast that time. So they can actually sort of go against Article 48 because obviously Championship and Premier League aren't working. They aren't on during the international break. Now, we know that across the other member states, other countries do televise all their matches, regardless of the time of kickoff. If you look at the Bundesliga, they show their matches and their stadiums are 90% plus capacity filled, similar to the Premier League. Serie A is a bit different. They show their matches, but their attendances naturally are lower. And I don't think that's a result of showing their matches live. It's a result of maybe infrastructure, prices, match day experience, that type of thing. So even then, you've got conflicting arguments, maybe for and against. Even for the against, I think there's plenty to say. Actually, it's not to do with the actual fact of broadcasting the football. To be honest, with so much sport being consumed now on so many different streaming platforms, these blackout games are already being covered by foreign broadcasters. We know, and anyone else who does watch-alongs know they are covered by foreign broadcasters. And so people are watching these matches already, but maybe not through necessarily the right channels. We'll just say that. So surely it's only a matter of time before this blackout rule is removed with anyone able with access to any of these sort of streaming platforms, legal streaming platforms, to watch any game in the Premier League, the Championship, League One or League Two. Obviously, we know what's going to happen. We know the punter's going to pay for that privilege, and we know, the likes of Sky will have things like match day passes more readily available, where you can pick and choose what matches you want to watch rather than necessarily pay a massive subscription fee to watch every Premier League game, because that's impossible. But I suppose with split screen and stuff like that, you can watch maybe two at a time, but that is a bit sad. I just think that it's something, it shows, with football sometimes, and particularly English football, the fact is other leagues are doing it, other sports are doing it. Surely we should be doing it now. I just can't see it being, it's been going since the last 35 years officially, something like that. Surely it's a case of, we've got to look at these rules and see what do they really benefit us? The guys who can't go to a game, who can't afford to go to a game, yes, they can watch a watch along, but they can't experience the game. I know I'm doing ourselves out of a job here, really, in terms of watch alongs, but still, it's not. I don't think it's fair that people, I remember when I was in Florida, I watched all the games on NBC. I didn't miss. I watched the Brentford games and the Arsenal game. I watched them on NBC. I got up a bit early and watched them. Midday or 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever. But I know Anton can't watch it. That's not fair. Surely that's not fair. Because even Anton lives. Well, he doesn't. He lives in Scotland. But okay, Max. He lives in England. He can't watch it unless he has to find some dodgy stream, which potentially could F up his computer if he's got viruses and stuff like that. I'd be interested to know your thoughts, because it's something we don't really talk about a lot. It's something. It's a rule which is it's in our heads. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. It's not going to be on telly. But why? Why shouldn't it be on telly? Every other bloody nation does it. Why is it just England, Scotland, and Montenegro? Anyway, let me know your thoughts. It's a little bit different, but I just thought it was interesting to open up the discussion, and also maybe sort of dip away a little bit from West Ham in the discussion as well, because of that exact point. As I said, please make sure you join us for the 24-hour live stream tonight, 5 p.m. It's going to be fun, and we're going to get a lot of awareness and maybe raise a few quid for the Iron supporting food banks. It's mainly about the awareness, in all honesty, because it's, as there were so many games in April, it's a real opportunity to get some, serious money behind the food banks, which then obviously, through our association with his church charity, we can multiply it 5 times. So £1 becomes a fiver. So, which makes a massive difference. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. Come on, you Irons. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.